Today was a day for women supporting women in the agriculture world. This was the first annual conference on women in agriculture called She Grows. It took over Morningside University today and is inspiring women of all ages to pursue and find passion in the ag industry. KTV's Taylor Deckard is in studio tonight. She joins us live with more on the mission the young woman in ag has for surrounding Siouxland and beyond. Taylor?
That's right. It was a remarkable show of unity and empowerment with over 200 women in ag coming together to learn and collaborate. Now, this event is put on by Iowa State University Extension and Outreach and the School of Agriculture at Morningside University. And after speaking with some of the rural Iowa high school students, this event helped set in some inspiration.
She grows. This phrase doesn't just symbolize growth in crops, but also in personal development, leadership, and community building among women in the agriculture industry.
What we want this event to do is to inspire women in agriculture or those that are potentially looking at careers in agriculture.
Friday morning, it was a room full of attentive listeners, women of all ages, and lots of FFA students.
We've got FFA chapters as far away as 4 hours.
Speakers touched on rural health, community engagement, and entrepreneurship.
Speaking with a lot of different people, I want to open my own business, and so there's a lot of inspiring women that have started businesses, and we heard about how we can bring back worth into our rural communities, and so I really hope to do that someday.
Students share their aspirations of working in different careers in ag.
I want to do ag marketing when I grow up.
I'm thinking about being an ag instructor, but I know I want to teach people more about the ag industry and the little misconceptions that people aren't so sure of.
She Grows helped highlight the vital role that women play in ag in rural Iowa.
So I want to meet new people that are involved in ag and maybe some people that I can talk to in college and like after college and be more involved with them.
We think it's very important to build a group of women who are excited to be in the agricultural industries. We have so much to offer and move the industry forward.
And now, according to the Farm Business Network, there are 1.2 million female farmers in the United States. That's 36% of U.S. farmers that are women. Today's event organizers were excited to see how many young ladies were in attendance and hope it fuels a fire to keep pursuing ag. Jessica?
All right, Taylor.